Welcome to Flesh and Pod, a flesh and blood podcast, breaking down weekly news and notes from the tournament scene, community drama, game strategy, and more. And now, here are your hosts, Darick and Logan.
All that good stuff wasted because Logan didn't hit record.
Because no one had consented to me recording yet, and we had not established Rule 0, but we have now. So, hello and welcome to episode 223 of Flesh and Pod. My name's Logan. I'm your host. With me, as mostly always, I was supposed to have this week off, by the fucking way. That did not hit 30 seconds.
And then
That's
Josh said, "But what if?"
God damn it!
But what if? Yeah.
Why do I always get beat by that statement alone? Like that statement just fucking kills me every
or
time.
hear me out.
God damn it!
Or maybe.
Or when Charmer goes, "You know how big a mistake that is?" And then I get got by that too. So, you know, it's
about this big.
Yeah. It's still funny. Anyway, with me as always is Charmer joining us, and I guess forcing my hand to not break my personal streak. Also one of the best people in the world, in my personal opinion, and virtually everybody else he ever meets, Joshua Scott. Josh, thanks for being on, but God, you're an asshole.
Well, look, I got to keep your fans happy, right? Make sure that they're up to date on what you're up to week to week. Can't miss out a week, can we? I mean,
God, no. Why would I?
You got to go for the big 500, right?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I have no idea how I'm ever going to pull that off, but you know, we'll see how that works. One heads up I wanted to get out of the way first. This coming weekend is the Nerd Rage event in Elmhurst, Illinois. So if you have not signed up, you should sign up. And if you're going, let me know. I've already had a request to bring the Runeblade cube, and so it's ready to go. And if you're down for cubing, if you're cubing, then you should let me know so that I can kind of get you on the list.
It's a great cube.
And
I'm not just saying that because I won.
I mean, Nick helped.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I mean, he didn't really have much of a choice. The hand that I gave
No. No. Your library was empty. You had a last-ditch effort in hand. It pretty much summed up what was going to happen.
Yeah.
And so you got ditched. But I say it in my notes that, of course, we're going to be there. However, I also put trademark behind it in the notes because knowing full well that Charmer wasn't going to show up. And
yeah,
Charmer's not going to show up. So that's why we put the trademark in there.
Well, yeah, but I'll be there in spirit.
You'll be there digitally.
So, in my defense, the reason that I am not showing up to this event is because this event is going to, on Sunday, be broadcasting their Riftbound tournament, and I have been hired. I'm told I'm allowed to share this now, so it's fine. I've been hired to cast said event. So the problem is that they don't have a space on site for the cast. Originally, I was just planning on driving down, but I've been told that because of some of the other casters they've hired and everything else, just to make things easier for the broadcast itself, the commentary will be done remotely. So I actually can't be there because they don't have a space for me.
You could be there on Saturday.
I could potentially. The thought has crossed my mind. However, the drive down and back, assuming that I wanted to stay and like have fun and whatever, I'd be getting back at a time that would make it like not super conducive to getting a good amount of sleep and then being a professional the next day. But it did cross my mind.
You said so many things. One, you don't get good nights of sleep anyway. Two, when the fuck are you ever a professional?
When I'm actually
when
hired,
he's getting paid, that's
I do. Yeah,
that's true. I do not pay him.
I am as professional as the job calls for. I don't like to be professional because I always say life is too serious to take life seriously. However, I understand time and a place, and I can be professional as needed.
Well, there you go.
It's just a shame that's
I'm so
not right
proud
now.
of you for that. Oh, no, that's never been right. Sorry, not never. It's like 2 times where we've had to pull up a bit and be professional and speak seriously about something And even then, we found a way to dovetail and just being unserious pricks again. Not snarky pricks, which we'll talk about later, but we're that too, obviously. Do you name cards after us now? I mean, I gotta know. Because...
I don't know. I mean, James has a way with names. He's got help with naming now, but he's very...
That's good, because we don't need another Boo resident spook. I'm pretty sure that was an unknown thing in New Zealand, but yeah, it ain't an unknown thing here.
Yeah, understandable.
I'm sure it was known.
But anyway, we're gonna ramp up through some things here really quick to just get them in front because of discussions that need to be had. One of them is the banned and restricted announcement. So Silver Age just got a major ass kicking, I guess. I don't know how to put this, but a bunch of bans and a couple of unbans. So now Lightning Press, that one should go. Burn Up Shock, not as convinced. Aether Spindle, Bracers of Belief, mid convinced. Sirens of Safe Harbor, convinced. And Steel Blade Shunt, completely unconvinced. Are banned from Silver Age. And then Amulet of Ice, which I don't think, it's fine. Rake the Embers, probably not fine, but so far has been fine. And Rootbound Carapace, which why does anybody get a 0 for 4 block? Or 0 for 5 or 0 for 20 or whatever the fuck you want to put it. Those are all unbanned. So the only reason we bring this up now is because we're going to talk about a Silver Age event. And the effect of the bannings and unbannings is, correlation doesn't equal causation, but logical inference can be made. But let's start with Calling Toulouse, won by Leo Toulouse. Is this the first time a calling has been won by a guy whose name is the same as the place that the calling occurs in?
I think so. I mean, comparative to like how many people are named after places, we have a pretty small sample size in Fab. So like, yeah, it could have happened before, but I don't think so. Which is kind of cool, to be honest. Like,
it wasn't like Ian Christchurch that won the calling Christchurch, and there wasn't Philadelphia Collins that won the calling Philadelphia. I think this is the first time that somebody with the name of the city has won. So, but won by Leo Toulouse on Dash.io. So that's 2 callings in a row for Dash.io.
Yeah.
Starting to approach the Rainbow Bridge, so to speak. We did get one across the Rainbow Bridge this week. KO Armed and Dangerous is now the 5th. Yes, is the 5th hero in all of Flesh and Blood ever without a talent to hit Living Legend. The other 4 are Arcane Rising, the entire set, the whole thing.
I will say I will not miss Mandible Claws at all.
I can tell you who will. It's Eugene C.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Eugene.
he's so upset. After he 43'd me at calling Columbus in one turn, he then went on a 30-second rant about how Mandible Claw wasn't even that good. It's just Fork, and now you're going to give him Spoon, and Spoon doesn't cut anything in Savage Claw. And I was like, oh, yeah, I guess he could meat axe somebody, I think, but sure. So we have a lot there. The top 8 of this was 2 Dash, a Vincent. Vincent coming into her own here with June's run last week, and a lot of people picking it up and realizing that it's not a bad deck. It's just hard to play. 1 KO Armed and Dangerous in the last top 8 that was legal for. A Huntsman just in the hands of Pablo Pintor to make Charmer grin like a fucking maniac. 1 Pleiades of Victor and Ocilio. So no Gravy Bones, no Verdants, no Ninjas. Kind of a wild one.
Was it not
honestly
the best to see Pablo Pintor like completely undefeated at the end of day 1 on Huntsman?
It was so fantastic. I was so excited to see it. I'm also incredibly excited to see that his list is not far off of what I've been piloting lately. The only, I think, noticeable differences is he has the one copy of the kunai, and he was on Fiddler's Greens, and I, weirdly enough, don't own a playset, so I'm on a mix of greens and sigils. But I also don't know that I want to give up sigil, because sigil has felt really good in other situations, but otherwise it's almost identical.
Hey,
and I've
Josh.
never felt so good.
Hey, Josh, does Sigil of Solace attack for 6 in a pinch? Does it do that?
Nope.
No? Weird. Odd. Can you pummel Sigil of Solace?
Oh man, I wish that'd be great.
You gain 7 and they discard a card?
I wish you could just pummel anything, to be honest. Pummel is a great card.
I mean, you two live in that camp.
Oh yeah,
I do love my pummels.
Why pummel people? Why do we have to strip other people's joy? Actually, don't answer that. Don't. Just don't. Actually, Charmer, yeah, please answer that.
Because they don't deserve it.
Wow. So they should not be able to play Slay the Spire too.
Definitely not. If I have you friended on Steam and I see you playing Slay the Spire, just know that I will pummel you the next time.
Oh wow. Okay. I mean, I just because I just got home from vacation today.
You should be playing weeb games like me.
Absolutely not. Yeah, I got home about 4.5 hours ago now, and the first thing I did was get Slay the Spire and downloaded Slay the Spire 2, downloaded my Steam library. I didn't get to open it and play it because reasons, but that is just definitely on my list of things to do. But I also have Resident Evil Requiem to play. It's like I have all these games to play and no fucking time to play any of them.
Yeah, I think it's always an inverse relationship between stuff you have to do and the amount of time that you have available, right? Like you either have, oh my god, there's so much stuff I want to do. I gotta watch this series, gotta watch this movie, gotta play this game, and I don't have any time to do it. And then when you do have time, it's like, shit, what was I gonna do again?
That's called Alzheimer's. Which I probably also have. But there was also a Silver Age Showdown. Going to point out for questions below, and also sort of keeping track of this for my own sanity. The Calling Toulouse had 381 players registered. The Showdown had 154. That's before drops, like round 1 drops. So that's registered players prior to round 1. The Showdown was won by Samu Wex on KO. The top 8 was a Vincent. Great. That's interesting. And Ira. Okay, that's interesting. 6 KOs. 6 fucking KOs. Like, have we figured something? Like, KO was always already in the running for like potential best deck in Silver Age. It had the best high roll turn.
Yep.
And then you take effectively nothing from it. Sirens is what you take from it. And then also neuter the decks that could run with it, being Kano and Briar and Aurora, honestly, and Lexi. And now what? We're just waiting for the voting, I'm guessing, so that we can shuffle that one on.
Yeah, I don't know. So again, I always say that for me, one event doesn't like make a meta, and obviously KO was already really good, and it's likely still incredibly strong after the changes, but I think you hit the nail on the head in that it was a deck that was always capable of having some of the best high roll turns, and sometimes like people just hit it, right? It's a hot streak style of deck, and the fact that there were so many doing so could just be like a result of the event. So I reserve the right to see a couple more events before I go all in on the KO as a problem, but
sure. I look at it and I'm like, yeah, I don't think it would make sense unless I stumble upon something super cool to play anything but KO this weekend in the Silver Age event. and that just means a bunch of KO mirrors, which is the math problem from Silicon Valley, where they're trying to figure out if Ehrlich can jerk off the entire room of dudes within the 10 minutes allotted for their presentation. I mean, that's what it turns into. And we have to calculate dick to floor, call that D2F. And then we have the ability to hot swap dicks. There's a lot that goes into it. And the funny part is, if you are familiar with equations, the equation on the whiteboard at the end of the night, like when Richard is coming out, if you pause it and go through the equation, it actually is real math. They had somebody spend time on this.
Yeah, that checks out.
Right. It's such an incredible scene. And you're just like, I rewatched on the reason it was fresh in my mind. I rewatched it on the plane today. And I was just like, because they had Silicon Valley season 1 on the plane. And I was like, oh, I want to watch tip to tip. I want to watch the tip to tip episode. And so I popped it up. It's 30 minutes of just pure unadulterated chaos. And I absolutely adore it. The show's really good for the amount of time. Very problematic cast in a lot of ways, but really good show.
You're telling me that a show that made you say, I want to watch the tip to tip episode and has like dick to floor ratios has a problematic cast? Who would have thought?
Weird.
Weird.
And it was TJ Miller and the one that plays Richard. Why am I blanking on his name? That were the issues, but sure.
Well, TJ Miller, if you want to talk about how far that guy has fallen, I saw he is currently doing Raid Shadow Legends ads, which if you know anything about like even when I was like streaming on Twitch and content creation, like, I mean, people would do it, but like the joke was always just like, they'll throw money at like literally anybody. And it was usually like, it was okay money, but it like wasn't great. But like the idea that he's now doing Raid Shadow Legends.
Is it like
ads.
the old thing from the 80s and 90s where if a musician needed money to get high, they would do Rock Against Drug commercials?
It kind of is like that. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah. I'm looking at his filmography. It doesn't look like he's been in a film since 2020 or TV since 2021. So
yeah, it's basically since he did that bomb threat on the bus or whatever.
Yeah, that's the one. You know, this guy TJ Miller. Apparently he's supposed to be coming back in Deadpool 4 or whatever for one last run. And it's like, well, I hope that it's just for like a meta joke where Deadpool hands him a bomb on a bus and it kills his character.
That sounds
okay.
100% what it would be like. What it would end up being.
I mean, just saying that.
Yeah, I'm okay with this. Like, that seems like fun because the character's name is Weasel, for God's sakes. So get blown up, idiot. So we kind of worked through our normal, cadence of talking through things. We'll talk much more Omens of the Third Age when Josh is not here because he's already spent. He doesn't know anything about these cards anymore because he proofed this shit over a year ago. He doesn't remember anything.
Yeah, I'm just seeing it for the first time, basically like you guys.
You're like, oh wait, I remember that now. Interesting. They put David Bowie in the set. Wild.
And they made him an illusionist.
What he should be a shapeshifter, but
first of all, I'm okay with him being an illusionist if it's like Goblin King themed from Labyrinth. That makes more sense to me. But just like, I want to play David Bowie and I don't want to play illusionist. Why are you?
Well, I mean, it's a great introduction to the illusionist class. It's how you get people who hate illusionists to play illusionists. It's an onboarding hero into the class.
So are we trying to get away from Flesh and Runeblade and go straight to Flesh and Illusionist? Is that what we're doing?
Pretty much.
That's the beauty of Illusionist. It always has been. Thinking it wasn't is just an illusion.
It's the gun at the back of the head of the guy staring at Earth.
Always been illusion.
Yeah, I get it. It always has been. But instead, so here's what happened. I got on Josh for cheating on us by going on Tommy's show, which. Go listen to the episode. It's very good. I enjoyed it. Yada, yada, yada. I love Tommy. Blah, 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 blah. And then Josh goes, hey, actually, I do want to come on to your show because we're having an errata bulletin, and I know you love those. Motherfucker. I do not. I really don't. And then I wrote in the notes, errata bulletin 10, you really have fucking 10 of these, not realizing that there are 10 individual errata points as well. So the symmetry is so perfect of there's really fucking 10 of these, Josh.
There's a few. There's a few. Let's just say that. I haven't counted them out. I was just doing the cleaning and sweeping and just making sure everything was in its nice little neat little place. Honestly, we kind of needed it to clean up a few things because the last errata bulletin, number 9, was published all the way back in May 2024. So it's been almost 2 years since I published an errata, and I thought, you know what? Let's save up everything for this episode, just so that you can vent straight to my face about it.
Okay, we're quickly. Reading the card should explain the card, and the card should do what it reads it does. That is not that hard of a concept. It really isn't.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's all this other, and I get it. You wanted to do weird shit, like have weapon attacks that aren't weapons, but aren't weapon attacks either. They're just attacks with a subtype that is also a weapon subtype. So now it confuses and muddles the mixture quite a bit, which is a magic card. But you're just sipping coffee like you look like fucking Kermit the Frog doing the thing, you piece of shit. And anyway, I understand needing to make errata choices for design space reasons. That makes sense. And some of these seem that way. Although I don't really get why Cheating Scoundrel and Snarky Prick are... I mean, you made a rule change prior to the set that this, or with the set that these came out in. So I was like, couldn't have. Okay. But anyway, let's start with just from the top. Made a change to Cheating Scoundrel. Explain.
So the issue came from some early templating issues with Cheating Scoundrel that made it through proofing. Unfortunately, the problem is that wager is meant to be a discrete effect, and the way that it's phrased on that card is as if it's a continuous effect, which is like, hey, you play a card and wagering just happens automatically when you play that card. When in reality, what needs to happen is that when it's played, or in this case, when it attacks, it puts a trigger on the stack that is going to wager, and wager happens as a discrete event. So it functionally doesn't change anything from like a gameplay perspective, like from tabletop or whatnot, but it just brings it in line specifically with how wager works within the rules, and that's just what we had to do.
Okay, yeah. So in this case, like Cheating Scoundrel doesn't have an option on wagering, correct? It wagers no matter what.
Yep, 100%. So still, like, it doesn't make it optional. It doesn't change anything about it. It basically just recognizes that it has to be a trigger, and it has to have a very specific timing for that discrete effect to resolve.
Okay, and so that makes sense. Gotcha. But we're having to change Snarky Pricks.
So we were talking about Snarky Prick when it first came through. We were talking about, like, is this going to be okay with this not being optional? And then how that relates into player responsibility and verification. Because one of the key parts of any sort of like TCG is that the players have to be self-monitoring in terms of like following the rules. The first thing that breaks that in Fab is cloaked equipment, because you can only equip a cloaked equipment face down if it has cloaked on it, but that's not something that is verifiable or can be verified by your opponent until, of course, they flip it face up. But like, you could end the game with it face down in your equipment zone, and like, what do you do basically? So that was like one of the things that we evaluated about Snarky Prick was, okay, what if you you look at it and it's red, but your opponent knows it's red from like an opt or maybe their Dio or something like that, like, are you able to, like, do you have to banish it or not? And to avoid a lot of the complexity around things like player verification and holding players accountable or responsible, we figured that it was easier just to make this an optional effect by issuing an official errata than having to create very complex or complicated rules around player verification that would inevitably catch a player out and give them a GRV or something ridiculous. And it's like, okay, let's make this an errata, make it an official, protect the players from, you know, these niche rule responsibilities when they already have a lot to worry about.
Yeah, that makes sense. Especially in the case, Dio's a good case because you could look at the top of the deck, not destroy it, and then they could just go, wait a second, and then look at the top of the deck because it's part of their, you know, hero text and be like, you motherfucker, and then call the judge or whatever. But yeah, so that's, and also even when there's, best way to put this, there is hidden information at all points in time in that process from somebody. So even if you knew the top card of the deck, as soon as the top card of the deck is no longer something you're looking at, it returns to being hidden information. Yay. So there's that too.
Yep.
As long as I got that right. You can tell me I'm an idiot.
No. You're on the right track. I'll let you can do it. Do you want to try explain the next one?
Yeah, I guess. So specifying weapon attacks. All right. So God damn it. There are attacks that have a weapon subtype, like Kiss of Death is a dagger attack. And so when it says, you know, you may flick a dagger, flick knives, you can flick a Kiss of Death, because it doesn't say you may flick target weapon at all, because a Kiss of Death is not a weapon, and it's not a weapon attack. It's an attack action card. A weapon attack is literally an attack with a weapon, and it is not the weapon itself. It is the attack of the weapon. So what I'm talking around here is when a card's, in this case, when a weapon's power is referenced, it is not static. So as an example, if a Centauri Saber that carries turn over turn with an increased power value, or not turn over turn, but like you can break the chain and there's still, you know, the power value is still from being blocked by an attack action card, but it stops being a weapon attack. It's now just a weapon. So by cleaning up saying weapon attacks, you can't target something that is a non-weapon attack and just a weapon with things that are this, is where I was going. Yep. So this seems like more cleanup.
Yeah, it's
anything
definitely
else.
More cleanup. And you're right. So like when you're attacking with a weapon, you basically have two objects that are there. You have a weapon, or the attack source, and then you have the weapon attack, which was what we call in the rules an attack proxy. And the way that an attack proxy works is it's basically, hey, I am your attacking weapon, or I represent your weapon attacking on this chain link. And that way you can differentiate between what effects apply to the weapon attack versus the weapon itself. So like if you have something like your next weapon attack gets +3, you can be assured that that's not going to apply to your weapon, but it's going to apply to your weapon attack, i.e., you know, the thing on the chain link, not the weapon that you're holding in your hand. The problem is with that distinction, that differentiation, as part of the rules, we needed to clean up a couple of small cards that had syntax that referenced basically self-referencing the power of the weapon versus the weapon attack. So Helm of Sharp Eye, Merciless Battle Axe, and Zephyr Needle, we needed to make sure that we were referencing the power of the weapon attack, which is quite often the thing that you buff with abilities or effects. And we made sure that that aligned with the rules change that we introduced back with the Comprehensive Rules 2.9. So pretty simple, pretty straightforward, just a bit of housekeeping, bit of cleaning up, you know.
Just simple, straightforward.
Yeah, straightforward. It's fine. We can all understand this. I do love that you reference Zephyr Needle, which isn't fucking legal anywhere.
I mean, you know, I'm a completionist.
You are Indeed, the most pedantic person I know.
I'm waiting for one of these like rules reprises or errata updates where he's just randomly referencing Go Bananas.
I mean, Go Bananas is a great card.
One day
Yeah.
we might have to errata Go Bananas to make sure it works properly.
To make it into Booster Tutor, just like I have in my queue.
That'd be good. Maybe it would be played more.
I mean, doubtful. It's it is exactly rolling dice the way that I like to play it. Although it did win you a game randomly because you just made it so your opponent's arsenal was non-functional for the entire game. That was adorable.
Good game.
It was funny watching Nathaniel go, "Oh, actually, fuck, that's really good."
Yeah.
Shit. It's like, oh,
Yep.
yeah, sure is. Next one is current funnel. Why?
It's a very similar thing to the cheating scoundrel change. Basically, it's specifying a particular time that the effect applies, as opposed to just the effect applying as though it's a continuous effect. Again, it's just to do with making sure that we have triggers on attack action cards as opposed to them just being treated as though they were a non-attack action card being played and resolving on the stack. So again, just cleaning up easy stuff, making sure that everything is nice, neat, and tidy.
Okay.
Now, does this also apply to past funnel and future funnel, or is it just current
funnel? I mean, we'll have a look at future funnel when we get there. Past funnel is long gone.
Fair.
Well, time is a flat circle, so past funnel could easily become current funnel.
True.
I mean, have you ever considered, you know what? Not one of these days, I'm going to pop like 4 edibles, and I am going to do the show and discuss the forms of matter that I think are unobservable with somebody who is going to be equally high, and it'll quite possibly be the highest rated episode of anything ever.
So I would like to propose the first unobservable form of matter, which is my serotonin.
Yeah, I mean, sure. It makes sense. Oh my god.
Unobservable or just missing?
It's just, yeah, it's on a fucking milk carton.
Have you seen Chalmers serotonin?
Have you seen Chalmers serotonin? It's just a glass that's not even half full. It's just like, this is all he has. Why would you steal from a man who has nothing? Okay, I'm back at it. Next one's fucking Christ. Next one's Earthlore Bounty. This didn't make sense to me.
Yeah, it's another like tricky specific kind of thing. The way it works essentially is that Earthlore Bounty's original effect was a little bit ambiguous in how it could be interpreted. You either have the interpretation that every time a card is drawn, for every single card that is drawn, it puts one trigger on the stack, and when that trigger resolves, you create one seismic surge. The alternative way to interpret it is that it puts one trigger on the stack for however many cards you draw at a time, and that creates the same amount of seismic surge tokens. So let's say you have a card like Three of a Kind. You draw 3 cards. In one way, your opponent puts 3 triggers on the stack. And each of those triggers creates you one seismic surge token. So resolve that trigger, create a seismic surge. Resolve that trigger, create a seismic surge. Resolve that trigger, create a seismic surge. The other interpretation is that they draw 3 cards, you put 1 trigger on the stack, and when that trigger resolves, you create 3 seismic surge tokens.
So you're cleaning up priority windows.
Yeah, basically. And it's relevant for, future design space and effects that might interact with multi-event replacement effects and those sorts of things. And it's basically, okay, again, just housekeeping. This was ambiguous. Let's condense it down to the easiest interpretation of this and then move on. So again, housekeeping, sweep it under the rug. We're good to go.
That's not housekeeping, right? Like, hiding the shit isn't housekeeping.
I'm not a very good cleaner.
Neither am I, but that's why I keep stacking Transformers on the shelf so I don't have to dust it. So
the piles of stuff just get Transformers put around them.
correct. It just makes it easier. And then
can I share something since we're talking about statues and hiding our dust? When I was at the Riftbound regional qualifier,
not a Riftbound show, but sure.
I know, but listen.
Then he's gone. And he's gone.
It was the Tornado. So I bought a statue while I was there, right? Now, you can order these online, but I bought this one just because I was there, and I was like, hey, it'll be a fun memory. I can put it up with my stuff, blah, blah, blah. I love the character. Bye. Didn't open it while I was there because I'm at the thing, so I just like put it in my bag, get all the way home, open it to put it up.
It's empty?
And no, I mean, it was not empty, but the statue was like missing fingers and a bunch of other stuff. So, yeah.
What are you gonna do with it?
I don't know. So I am getting a replacement, but they didn't tell me what to do with the one missing fingers. So
you can have a like post Quentin Tarantino torture scene version and a pre Quentin Tarantino torture scene version.
I was just thinking maybe they're the same place as
you know what?
serotonin.
You know what? Actually,
we're fingering Charmer serotonin.
It would be kind of fun now that I'm thinking about it. I could bring this out for like a seasonal decoration, and I could put like an exploded firecracker on the base.
You could,
and it'll be like my Michael, or not Michael Strahan, my
Jason Pierre-Paul.
Yeah, Jason Pierre-Paul.
Josh, that is a American football player who is a very, very epically good at his job. And on the July 4th, he decided to light an M80 firecracker and then forgot to drop it, and subsequently lost a good amount of his hand.
I take it that was
also
a
cost
tragedy
himself
at the time.
No one cared. But I mean, the number of fireworks related injuries and deaths every year should make a society question why they have fireworks to begin with. But we're America, and God damn it, we are going to blow shit up.
Can you buy fireworks any day of the week, like any time of year?
100%. Yep. I can go down the street right now. There's a fireworks superstore. I can just walk in and buy shit.
So at the moment, we can only buy fireworks. I think it's 5 days leading up to Guy Fawkes. And once Guy Fawkes is done, you can't buy fireworks anymore. Like that's our current. And I think it's moving in a direction that soon you won't be able to buy any fireworks at all, which thank God, because like people suck.
You have a dog.
People suck.
Yeah. They sure do. They think that the best time to light off fireworks is 2:30 in the morning, as close to your window as possible. And I like to inform them that they're wrong.
Yep.
Frequently. But again, as Childish Gambino once said, this is America.
It is.
Moving on. Let's get to Murky Water.
He's the voice of Yoshi, right?
Yes. I was surprised you didn't make any reference to this being a little murky within the article, within the description of Murky Water's changes. Slightly disappointed, but mostly proud of you.
I had to be professional here. I was getting paid for it, so
I was getting paid.
Yeah,
for
I was.
it, but no longer.
Yeah, you'd still be getting paid for it if you threw in some puns. Just saying.
True. Yeah.
Because, you get charged your day rate again for cleaning up your own mistakes.
It's like, man, where's that errata article? I've still got to.
I've just figured it out. You fuck these things up so that you then get paid to write the errata article that fixes
I got to keep myself employed. You know how it is.
That's right. That's smart of you. God, that's next level. I'm fucking stupid. I should be doing that. I should be fucking things up intentionally. Okay, but let's talk about Murky Water. What's the change and why?
So Murky Water was originally designed when the trap subtype was basically bound to deck cards. Well, more specifically, it was bound to defense reaction cards, so cards that would go into your deck. With the inclusion of trap on equipment cards, that was no longer the case. And the assumption that Murky Water held when its syntax was very first introduced or produced basically fails under that assumption. And that allowed for a niche case in the rules where if you had your trap equipment in your graveyard and you played Murky Water, there was a chance for you to be able to put that equipment into your banish zone and then put it into your arsenal. Now, normally that wouldn't be an issue because we do have these sort of safeguard rails in the rules where if an arena card, so like an equipment or a weapon or your hero or something, gets put into this 4 zone loop, which is your deck, pitch, arsenal, or hand, that the effect just fails to happen. So it's like, I'm going to put this card in my deck. No, wait, I can't because, arena cards can't go in your deck or can't go in your hand or can't go in your arsenal. The problem is that these cards get banished face down first, and then one gets randomly selected and gets put into your arsenal. So it comes back to that whole point of like your opponent can't verify whether or not that illegal state has happened. And to avoid people getting, shafted by Murky Water and having an equipment in their arsenal that they literally cannot get rid of, we decided to issue an errata for Murky Water to accommodate for that situation. So the change to Murky Water now is that you may only banish cards with cost 1 or more from your graveyard face down. That ensures that the card is a deck card because only deck cards have costs. And that also means that it can be played from Arsenal. So if there's a future design space where we introduce another type that doesn't have a cost with the trap, so card types that don't have costs are things like block cards or mentors, it would also avoid the situation where you might end up bricking your arsenal from something like that. And resources as well. So if you had like a gem trap.
Sure.
So the idea is basically, again, to protect players in these sort of fail states and to protect the rules and, make sure we don't end up in these weird situations. It was a small price to pay rather than trying to have to change a whole rule system about verification around this one interaction.
But I wanted the funniness of somebody having to put a piece of equipment in their arsenal, and it just...
I had an unbelievable amount of judges saying that I was ruining their fun because I errated Murky Water.
Was it Nathan Steckman specifically? Because that sounds like the type of shit that he would just absolutely adore.
There were a few. He might have been among them. I just turned my notifications off. That was just easier.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
I just love the mental idea of somebody going through all of this stuff and then they get it in there and then somebody plays CNC on them and they're like, oh, I really wanted to keep this card, and then it's revealed and you're like, what?
What the fuck just happened?
But better yet is if they get the read on you like Michael Hamilton did in the first...
Oh God, in Worlds in San Jose.
And they're just like, well, I guess you don't have an arsenal, do you?
It's like, oh, wait a second. That's a defense react? Oh shit. Yeah, we are not sending an attack ever again. So
man, that game was just unbelievable. What a timeless game. I was thinking about this the other day in terms of games that are super iconic for Fab. Like if you did a super cut of all the great memorable games in Fab, it'd be like Michael Hamilton, Icelander, that top 8 game.
The Dromai Sigil.
Yeah, the Dromai Sigil. Oh my God. Crazy. Absolutely nuts. I think even the LL game that was played at Worlds with Dash going all the way down to 1 and then killing Gravy on, I think it was 30 something or it was 40 or
it was 36 or something like that.
Yeah, ridiculous.
And just blowing them up. It's like, oh, that's how that works. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I there are definitely iconic games in Fab. There probably is going to be a show or something that we do that sort of goes back through those moments eventually. Maybe episode 300. I don't fucking know. I don't want to think about that. I really don't want to think about that.
But what if?
Shut the fuck up. Shut up. That's enough out of you.
It's that easy.
Next one is a card that nobody plays, which is Northern Winds, which is great. I was just, oh, good. A card that literally no one it's again, it's legal in LL, I guess.
Yeah. Yep. Kind of. Yep.
Were you just paging through the card file and going, What's some obscure shit that is slightly broken that I can put in an article to have more content in there for Logan to get angry
So
at?
it was really frustrating because Northern Winds has sort of been a sticking point for us for a while, or a sticking point for me for a while. It was the card that we decided that we wanted to move towards a syntax where we didn't have to specify the duration of freeze. But then we decided, okay, well, that doesn't give us a lot of flexibility around certain things. People misunderstand how long freeze is meant to last for. We should reintroduce that. But of course, with Northern Winds being, creating this default and whatnot, I was like, okay, well, we would need to update Northern Winds so that it has a duration rather than relying on a sub rule of an effect and a rule in the CR. So that was one point. The other point was basically the use of and or in terms of describing things. So
which is sloppy.
There's a very specific how you deal with lists of things in Fab, and whether or not you use and or you use and or together,
or an Oxford comma, maybe.
Or
I got him again. I fucking always get it in. I will get it in every time. God damn it!
For the record, I love Oxford commas. It just so happens. Anyway.
When you were considering the impact of Andor, did you also have to factor in like K2SO or
Jin or so? Absolutely.
Or,
no.
Okay.
Right. No good.
What about Nemec's Manifesto? Sorry, I'll stop.
Yeah, you probably should. At any rate. So yeah, this this made the most sense to me because Andor cards are always difficult to ascertain in the moment, like what are we referencing with the Andor statement here, when you can just clean up the language fully and make it not have that sort of, I don't know, asking the player to make that sort of delineation. Instead, you can just say, you can lay it out in one clean sentence and move on. That makes total sense.
Yep.
But it's a card that no one plays.
Yeah, I mean, well, like I said, I'm a completionist. I want to make sure that I get all the edges, tighten all the screws, make sure everything is square.
You did say that your pronouns are doctor. Okay, back to the list here. Your guys' favorite card, Pummel.
Now, this one actually really surprised me because we did a whole bunch of research on attacking hero and defending heroes when it came to the rules change that was published alongside Compendium. And we went through all these cards and we were looking at, attacking hero and defending hero. These are the cards that are going to be affected. And one that really flew under the radar was Pummel. Now, when we did the research on this, we looked at Pummel and we saw, this references defending hero. So this is actually going to be like friggin' wild because all of a sudden you could attack an ally, you could pummel your attack, it would hit the ally and cause the controller to discard a card. And we talked to the devs and they were like, okay, well, that's not great, but it's fine. Like it's balanced enough for us to like take into consideration. And then we dug a little bit further and we're like, hang on, the text isn't quite what I remember it to be. Cause I was looking at my, my alpha pummels when I was playing and I'm like, it doesn't say defending here on it. Like, when did this change? And it turns out we updated the wording between the Welcome to Wraith first edition and Unlimited, where we changed it to defending hero all of a sudden. And it was just because it had equivalent syntax, and because it had equivalent syntax, it didn't make any difference at the time. But because it now has a difference, that makes it a functional change. So in order to make sure that we finalize what the wording of Pummel is, we needed to issue this errata to ensure that we were all on the same page, that, hey, this is the correct text of Pummel. It doesn't matter what edition you have, whether or not it's first or unlimited, but we need to, get that in the books, as it were.
So do my promo Pummels have the right name, have the right one on them? Let me look here. This hits a hero, they discard a card. Yep. Yeah. The extended art pummels that I have are correct. As are the cold foils. So Charmer left. He's looking for his cold foils. Yeah, he's definitely trying to look for his cold foils. The cold foils say when this hits a hero, they discard a card, according to this.
So your judge foil pummels. Very good. Still.
Yeah, no, it's still good. Still good. But the WTR alpha ones do say if this hits the defending hero, discard.
Yeah, sorry, I got that around the wrong way. The alpha ones say defending hero. The unlimited ones say when this hits a hero. Yeah.
There were just the 2 card changes between alpha and unlimited, right? It was just pummel and light and strike. And then
there were. No, there were a few small changes. No, there were even more changes. There were between alpha and unlimited, there were some changes, and there were some changes between unlimited and unlimited revised.
Right, because that's when Drone of Brutality got pulled from the print
yes,
run, right?
That's right. It's when I believe it's when they moved the product from being printed in Belgium to being printed in Japan. And at that time, they pulled Drone of Brutality, and they also updated, I think, about 7 cards. I think one of them was Savage Feast, one of them was Enlightened Strike, one of them was God, I'd have to look up the exact cards again, but
Savage Feast, really?
I think it was Savage Feast.
Oh yeah, it is Savage Feast. Yep, sure is. Because Savage Feast is additional cost, and then the redone is when this attacks. It adds the when this attacks.
Yep, that's right. Yeah, it added the when this attacks. That's right.
Mm-hmm. Which is what Enlightened Strike effectively was too, for the most part. It was adding the when this attacks instead of just draw a card.
Yep.
Which I prefer cleaner text in general, so I only play with Belgium Enlightened Strikes, but
it's mana culture.
That's right. Also, the foiling on Belgium print is so much deeper, and I can't not. What is the next thing that pissed me off? Oh, Shifting Tides. So this one seemed pretty self-explanatory, really.
It's another one of those things that slipped through our proofing process at the time. We didn't realize that it was, of course, you can't really play anything from your opponent's deck in high seas. But, of course, with the advent of, the precedent of, what's the card called? Infiltrate?
Yorick? Oh, Infiltrate,
yes. Infiltrate and New as well, technically. Them being able to play cards from the opponent's deck, what happens to it? Well, you shouldn't be putting any of your opponent's card into your deck. Like, that breaks another sort of fundamental tenet of how to, these professional games. Yorick, we'll just forget about that card now. But
Yorick just goes in this pile with Spectra and all the other shit you don't want to talk about.
We do these things where we do these exercises where we walk through certain combinations of cards and interactions. It's always Yorick, Taylor, and Shiana, and we're like, how do we break these heroes? How do we make sure that these heroes can break this particular card or this particular interaction? It's always these 3.
Well, yeah, that makes sense. So yeah, this is just as simple as owner's deck change, which again makes sense. Then there's Thaw, a card that no one plays.
Yeah, again, like I said, I'm a completionist. Got to make sure that all these loose ends are tied up. But Thaw was again just a card that with the more cards being frozen from cards in Compendium, etc., we decided that Thaw needed to be looked at, especially because we made changes to how things get targeted and what you can target in the arena. In order to make sure that Thaw does what it originally did, we needed to issue an errata to ensure that it could also unfreeze cards in Arsenal as well, which may or may not be relevant in metas when we have more ice cards. You can see Amulet of Ice being brought back. Maybe we'll have more Icelander kind of stuff coming through. So we will hopefully, I hope to see Thaw at some point, because I think that's a very, very cool card. Wait, is it a Majestic?
I would like my Yes,
okay.
I would like my.
Never mind.
I would like my stack.
Never mind.
I would like my stack of thaws to be worth something someday.
I like Thor. I also very much like the art. I think it's very cool. But
that's a real art.
That's not
cool.
the reason that I fixed the card. I just wanted to make sure it did what it was meant to do.
And hear me out. That's exactly why you fixed the card. Whose art is this, by the way? Huang Lam. So, yeah, it is really cool though. I do like that a lot. So yeah, 10 errata. Is the next errata bulletin going to be 11? Are we just going to sequentially add more cards to errata as you errata them?
I'll try, but I'll
I don't want you to try.
I'll try just for you. Just for you.
Oh, you're so kind.
That's so nice of him.
Yeah. Quick things on Omen of the Third Age. We spent a brief amount of time on this already. We're just going to hit a quick hit. Darick and I will talk about this at length, what we know so far about Omens. It's just, Josh is over it at this point. That was so long ago.
No, that's not fair. I am very excited for Omens because I worked on it a while ago, but now that I've sort of like gone past that, working on other stuff and whatnot, being able to like revisit the set with everybody at the same time, like I was super hyped during that trailer. Oh my god, it was amazing.
The trailer was great. Yeah, the trailer's great. Like, but the quick hits on this is we get the return of Aurora as promised, a second Acilio because we didn't know that we needed a first, really, much less a second, and then an illusionist because everybody that the devs at LSS hate freedom, and so the illusionist is literally David Bowie.
Yeah,
it's just Ziggy Stardust. There are no spiders that I saw yet. Hopefully that gets fixed, but the current I love the aesthetic, but I've always loved the lightning aesthetic. The questions I have brewing for this are things that are related around the fact that these are not elemental heroes. They are lightning heroes, and that changes a lot of what's available to them if that's how things stand. And those are things that you probably cannot talk about as of yet.
Well, I can say that there aren't going to be any changes regarding elemental lightning in terms of like what counts as elemental, what counts as lightning. So I can confirm that because these heroes that have been revealed are lightning, they do not have the elemental super type, they cannot run elemental cards. So no Flicker Wisp, no, is it Lightning Surge or
no? Lightning Surge is lightning. No Arcanic Shockwave, no Flicker Wisp, no Entwine Lightning.
I was gonna say it's the Entwine stuff, the Fuse stuff.
Yeah,
right. Like those are just gone. So less 0 for 4s.
Yeah, basically.
And I'm trying to think. Is there any elemental card really that Acilio plays? And there are no elemental illusionist cards. So, because this is the first elemental illusionist.
Yep.
However, lightning illusionist, not elemental illusionist. There's a fucking difference.
Yeah, first Aria illusionist.
There we go. Yeah. And the sad part here is that it looks cool, and I want to play David Bowie as well, but I also fucking hate illusionist. So
I told you it's a gateway hero.
I'm not as pilled as Charmer in this because I did play Dromai a decent amount. So like my hate is largely Prism located. So as long as Ziggy doesn't feel like Prism, I'm probably okay. And everything looks, again, and I love the aesthetic, and everything looks super cool. This will not be the giant motherfucking pain in the ass to sort that Compendium was. I sat there and wanted to punch babies sorting Compendium. I was just so mad having, like, I was at a bar doing it, so it helped to have the drinks to kind of take the edge off. But I was taking up like 4 feet of space to get all the classes and everything else in their own piles. And cursing the entire time.
I feel you on that as well, because I was putting together my playset for Compendium and I had help, and we managed to do like, I think it was like 2 hours of sorting, and we managed to get the rares and majestics all together. And then I was like looking at the common stack and I'm like, oh my god, I still gotta do commons. Why?
And I've done it with 10 boxes.
Wow, that's really, it took me I think it was 12. So it took me 3 cases, and I did a couple of trades for the missing majestics and the legendaries, but otherwise I managed to get everything, which is very, very cool.
Yeah. I'm still missing legendaries, but they're things I already own. So I'm just like, okay.
How'd you go with your antiquity packs, actually?
Not great. I think the best things I have were a cold foil truce and a cold foil sensor. Only 1 rusted relic though, so I only got rusted once.
Jealous. I got Bupkis. I got 12 antiquity packs and I got nothing. But I did manage to get pretty close to completing my my 3x3 of the 3 gems, the heart, the eye, and the Tropaldani. So once I get a couple more art pieces, I should be able to complete those as well. I don't know how I'm going to complete though, because I'm trying to complete all of the artwork pieces as well. So I'm like making my way through the gem pack.
Oh no!
Yeah, and the tournament packs, I have no idea how I'm going to complete those.
Fucked doing that. Like, oh shit! I guess you could the next large tournament that you're at, you can kind of farm them from people.
Yeah, I'm hoping that at Yokohama that there's just going to be like 800 people who don't want the artwork out of their tournament packs.
Yeah, just go and like, can I have?
Yeah. I just go around, go on the trip to go pester players to ask for art cards.
Oh, just add it to the judge announcement at the beginning.
Yeah. I was like,
just add it in.
No bribery, no stalling, and if anybody doesn't want their art cards, if you could just come to the front and pass them to Joshua Scott. All right.
Yeah, right. Just add it in there. That's all you got to do. You have the power. You can just abuse it a little bit, not a lot. Just
a little bit. Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. It's fine. I know that in Chicago we'll have gem packs this weekend. I'll ask if I can collect people.
Honestly, you'd be doing me a favor if you managed to get a couple my way, but. I'm not gonna make a plea on your podcast. I didn't come on here to do a PA.
Oh, you did, and that's okay. It's fine to beg. We're okay with that. You have privilege on this show that others would not necessarily have, so you're fine to beg. That's okay.
Very kind of you.
You help support kids with cancer, and so because of that, you get begging privileges. It's fine. It's so Josh, you know the rules. You've been here a lot. And now it's your time. What do you want to talk about? What's on Josh Scott's mind today that the Flesh and Pod, the Fappers, need to know about?
What's on my mind today? How cool is Omens?
I mean, again, the aesthetic is so good.
I think it's just like with Tales of Aria, right? Tales of Aria had the most beautiful lightning foil cards I have ever seen. I don't know what it is about lightning, but like the foils for lightning, just like it's like a multiplier. It's just like amazing on top of amazing. It's incredible.
Yep, and that's why even like when they did the promo lightning presses, the Trident lightning presses, I just went, no thanks. I'm going to continue playing my Aria ones because I think they look better foiling. I think that they just did it looked nicer almost across the board. So I completely agree with that. I think it's the embellishments on lightning cards that really make them pop when they're foils. Because you get the detail usually of foiled lightning, which are very They can be subtle. They can be over the top. They can be kind of anything, and they fill the roles that they're able to do so well. So like things like Volt Bound Duality is a good example. This foiling like the hair and then the lightning, or just foiling even the duality of it along with the lightning would be incredible.
Absolutely.
So you just get to do the thing.
Well, even if you go back all the way to so you got like Tales of Aria and Rosetta. So like the lightning's just like consistently amazing. And you're right, like it just makes those extra little details on those cards just absolutely pop out of the card. And it's just amazing. And I think like, because we've got these the borderless cards now in tournament packs, and we've got like these full art treatments and whatnot for a lot of these cards. I think these cards are going to look fucking incredible in person. I cannot wait to see what these things look like in person.
If I had one quibble, it's that all of the Lightning Illusionist stuff looks too close to ice. And
yeah, I can understand that. And just, you mean in terms of like the color scheme or the color palette?
The color schemes, the borders. Yeah.
I think, and I don't quote me on this, but I think one of the key aspects of the borders in the set, because what they did is they've deviated slightly from the coloring on like the Lightning Rune Blade.
Because they're not elemental.
Yeah. Right? No. Even if you have a look at Lightning, because there is like previous Lightning Rune Blade cards.
No, there is not. Well, there is Elemental Rune Blade with Essence of Lightning, but I don't think there's Lightning Rune Blade.
Let me double check. Yeah, there is one. Arc Lightning.
Oh, there's one.
Arc Lightning.
Oh, sure. But that's still a yellow border.
Yeah, no, it is a yellow border. But if you have a look at Omens, like, we've seen Vault Bound Duality, it doesn't have that pure yellow border. And if you look at like the hero borders, so they use the frame of Elemental, the full Elemental frame, which has like the three leaf florets in the bottom left and right. Those are sort of like colored towards the heroes. And I think one of the key aspects of this is that we've intentionally colored a lot of these cards, so it makes it way easier to sort out in limited. So you don't just have like a full yellow card pool that you can't like differentiate between all these different classes. So
thank God we're getting limited back.
You've been hankering for it, have you?
Oh my God. I almost kicked the addiction. I came so close to turning the corner, but well. And also, our boy Cilio got yoked. Like, what the fuck?
I've been hearing a lot of names for it. I think the one that I like the most is Swolcilio or Swolio. Like
a Cilio yoked continuum. I mean, it's just.
I've been mentally thinking of him as Brocilio.
Brocilio.
Yeah, sure.
That's the other one I heard as well.
Yeah, Brocilio's good, but he skips leg day, which is unfortunate. But like he's pretty swole in general. I do like that, keeping with tradition, the wizard doesn't have 40 health, but for some reason the illusionist, in this case does. So sure.
Yep. Although here's a question for you. What name would you give to Aurora to differentiate it from her previous incarnation on cards?
How would, like, as a nickname?
Yeah, as a nickname. Because, we've got like RKO for like KO, obviously. We've got Starvo instead of Bravo. Like what? And we've got Brocilio or Swolio, whatever, for Ocilio. So
this is easy. She's a lot.
Well,
ALOT, Aurora Legacy of Tempest. She's a lot.
Yeah, she's a lot. I feel like they should have named her something like Aurora Currently Electric, because A, it's a great pun on electric current. B, it makes her an ace. And C, I know that this will upset Logan, and those are three really solid reasons to do so.
You're a dick. It could have been Aurora, Please Don't Sue Us. I'm sure that one was listed somewhere. But
could have been Aurora in your kitchen at this time of year.
Yeah. In this part of the country, localized entirely within your kitchen.
Aurora, step bro, can I get some help? Maybe that one's too much.
The one I have heard was tempura. So like moving tempers to the front and being like, hey, it's tempura. Ha 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 ha. But I don't know. I feel like I'm not convinced by that yet.
Well, you already have a hero named fucking Cutlet. So, I mean, whoever decided to make Katsu a name of a hero, it's Cutlet.
I will have no naming slander in my presence, thank you. I think that they're all genius.
There's definitely one that is not, and I will die on that hill. And the
Gravy Bones is great.
No, and it just lends itself to things like Boo Resident Spook. So, nope.
The fact that Katsu was in set 1 just furthers my argument for why Gravy Bones is great.
Because you have a Cutlet and then you have dog treats?
Right.
Oh. Well, good to know. Moving on. Want to do some listener questions? I got a bunch here. This might take a minute. The first one's from Aladoris. Does Ziggy play guitar? Of course.
In his spare time, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, can't use Pleiades' axe.
No.
But does play guitar.
Yeah. Not while fighting.
Are we going to get the spiders from Mars in this set? I guess that's
So hear me out. I don't think Ziggy plays guitar.
But
I think
the song says that Ziggy plays guitar.
Yeah, but the song says it, and I'm sure in the music video, Ziggy will be seen with a guitar, maybe even attempting to strum it, but I don't think he really plays it. I think it's all an illusion.
I really hope that storm shows up soon. Fucking Christ. Next one's from Jimny Ben. Ben, where is Ice? Probably somewhere around Christy Gnome's house in South Dakota is my guess, but who knows at this point.
I was going to say, I know that Ben lives in Michigan here with me, so just look out the windows.
You can see it on the ground. You can see it in the trucks.
You can't see it on the ground right now. It's basically all melted because
let's
of
be honest,
the warm-up,
nobody
which
wants
is why
Ice
I've got
to
the
show up to
storm
any
coming.
of these events, so.
No, because you have people that will fight them.
Yep.
Including me. I would definitely get in the mix on that one. You don't come after my fab homies. But where is Ice? I not in this set. Sir not appearing in this picture, apparently. Josh is allowed to plead the fifth on all of these questions as self-incrimination is definitely...
I will only say that I don't want Ice to turn up to the Pro Tour or Nationals, so...
Fair enough.
Or any of the events.
Any event really. So I don't think it's a hot take in New Zealand that the US is sort of on fire for like the 1,000th time.
It's a pretty cold take. One would say ice cold.
Can't wait for someone to show up to an event with like an altar for Icelander and it's like Homelander dressed in ice gear.
Now somebody's 100% going to do it.
Yeah.
It'll be Guy Cohen and he'll get Trump to sign that too. Too far? No? Right on time? Okay. Next one's from Delusian Data Analyst. During my last barrage of listener questions, you gave me some incredible advice on building out my game plan for Sage and CC. I have two equally important... We did not. We fucked that up. No. I have two equally important questions for you this time around. One, if I've never seen a single episode of wrestling, where do I start? And what are your hottest takes I won't get until I've watched more? So we're going to start there, Darick. And I know Josh...
I'm also very interested in this question because I haven't seen a single episode of wrestling.
This is why I left it in, is because I was like, wait a second. Josh has told us before that he has never watched wrestling. So this could be informative for him as well.
Gosh, this is... I would say it's going to depend on what you want out of starting to watch. Like if you are just trying to dip your toes and you do not care about any like current ongoing and or lasting storylines, you're just saying like, I just want to see if wrestling is for me. Then I would point personally to any matches that I think are good enough standalone without additional story. For me, that would be Halloween Havoc, Rey Mysterio, Eddie Guerrero. As a standalone, just phenomenal. Like, it's everything I love about wrestling. I know a lot of people are a big fan of the Kurt Angle, Rey Mysterio one as well. Honestly, anything with Kurt Angle is probably going to be great because dude's just a machine. But if you're somebody who says like, hey, I want to maybe get into watching like current wrestling, obviously like anything, because it's basically wrestling is just One Piece for Americans. That's what I have come to realize, right? Like it
Pretty
is
much.
There's a reason that there's a lot of crossover between like anime fans and wrestling fans, and it's a periodic thing where like people, they talk shit and then they fight. Like that's anime and whatever. So I would say if you're somebody who's like, I kind of want to get into current wrestling, but I don't need to know everything, I would watch like a promo package on Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns to get the backstory, and then I would watch WrestleMania 40's like Cody Roman thing as like your introductory. Obviously stuff has happened since then, but I think that that's one of the best, like if you're looking for something where like, okay, where's a big story and what's the big payoff, I think that's the most like modern good representation of long-term wrestling storytelling. So that's my two. If you're just looking for like, and don't get me wrong, there are great single wrestling matches that I think a lot of people will point you to. A lot of people's favorite stuff that they'll lead off with will be like Mankind, Undertaker, Hell in a Cell. Might be Shawn Michaels, Undertaker, like
That's
WrestleMania retirement.
Yeah.
That's up there. But the only reason that I didn't want to say like Shawn Michaels, Undertaker as like my standalone is because I still feel like there's a lot of story to that. I didn't want to start with Hell in a Cell, Mankind, Undertaker, because I don't think that going with the
unrealistic expectations
of like brutality is like setting the bar too high. I think I want to show you what standard is because I think that makes you appreciate that more. It's also not even like my favorite hardcore match. If I was going to point somebody,
not a hardcore match, really.
Well, just like, you know what I mean though, right? Like, if I was going to point somebody to, and I'm also keeping this all within WWE, you should also know that there's like tons of other promotions and there's plenty of other great wrestling out there. But if you're strictly just saying WWE, for me, if you were looking for something where you're saying like a no rules, a hardcore or whatever, my go-to is always Randy Orton, Mick Foley, Backlash, because I think that one also had really good storytelling leading up, and I think it is honestly what cemented Randy Orton as the person he is today. So
yeah. I think that I don't think you could watch a single episode to get the point. What I would do is I would start with a few different matches from different eras to determine if you actually like wrestling, if you like the wrestling part of wrestling. So Randy Savage, Ricky Steamboat,
yep, that's a good one.
One of the greatest ever done. Sting, Ric Flair, probably like 91, 92. Yep. And right before Flair went to WWE. And then Michael.
Sorry, you got me thinking about like that era. Bret Owen.
Bret Owen is insane. But there's a lot of story to that.
Yeah, that was why I didn't have that. Like when I was thinking of like my standalone stuff, to me, that's why I like that Mysterio, Eddie Guerrero, Halloween Havoc thing is a masterpiece in my opinion. But
yep. And then basically anything recent with Javon Evans, and you will find out if you like wrestling. The other thing I would do is I'd find out if you like promos, if you like the get in the ring and talk shit portion of this, of this entire thing. Like, do you like that portion of the anime? Right. So in this case, I would go and pull MJF CM Punk from AEW. That is insane. That gets hyper personal, and you honest to God believe they hate each other, and they probably did, honestly. Anything like John Cena, Roman Reigns, any of them. Because you want to see a man who is a giant, yoked to the gills, just get dressed down by a white dude dressing like he's cosplaying a Spirit Halloween Eminem. It's awesome. So any of those would do. And then Randy Savage, the cream always rises to the top, because that's him literally trying to break Gene Okerlund.
Yep.
And getting real close. But Gene Okerlund was as an absolute pro.
I would say almost anything Randy Savage. Even around the house to this day, one of my like constant stims is there's one promo where Randy Savage says, don't buy any unripe bananas. Yeah, because you won't live long enough to eat them.
Yep. Yep.
It just gets me every time.
That's Randy.
So Randy Savage is up there. Like if you want like good promos, I think that one is solid. I personally would say if you're looking for modern stuff, almost anything Kevin Owens, but especially Kevin Owens with the Ezekiel, Elias, whatever stuff cracks me up. It's not a WWE one, but I think if you're looking for like funny promos, even if you don't understand what's happening, the Ric Flair Jay Lethal one, I will never turn off. Steiner Math
is the one we reference all the time.
Required reading.
So yeah, Josh, if you've never watched the Steiner Math promo, you need to go watch the Steiner Math promo.
Okay.
It are a computer programmer.
Context. It really does require
that's
no
your degree,
context.
right?
Yeah.
It's computer programming.
Yeah, I did my degree, I did my undergraduate in computer science, and then I did some math and PhD in computer graphics. So I will Steiner promo, you say?
Steiner Math. That's all you got to put in there, and it's incredible. So when we're waiting for you to upload, I need you to be watching that live so we can watch the reaction. The second question is, I guess he did say, what are the hottest takes I won't get until I've watched more? Cody Rhodes is overrated. I mean, would be Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes are overrated.
What's a hot take I won't get until I've watched more? Some people will say this isn't a hot take, but you'd be surprised, like outside of, I think, me and Logan's sphere, how many people don't agree with this still. I think that the women's division is not just better than the men's, but has been for the last 5 years.
I would say at least 3 to 5. Yeah.
Yeah.
It definitely has.
The women wrestlers have absolutely stepped up their game. I think there's more raw talent on the roster. I think that, look, I'm not saying that there's not like good male wrestlers. I'm not saying there's not good male promos, but I find myself more involved with caring about like the women's side of shows just consistently more so than the men's.
Yeah.
They've just been killing it.
Yeah. And it's the reason I didn't add more female matches to my list, what I was talking about, is because it's difficult to the previous eras, they were not allowed to cook. And so it's been really recent in the sphere of professional wrestling where of popularized female wrestling that they've been allowed to do the thing.
If you're asking for like, hey, I want to see like good women's wrestling, I would say Bianca, Io, Rhea, WrestleMania.
Watch the first, but watch the first 2 Mae Young Classics.
Yeah,
just watch those.
First 2 Mae Young Classics is great, but I mean, if you're just looking for like, hey, I just want one, Bianca, Io, Rhea Ripley, WrestleMania was outstanding.
Mm-hmm. The second question: my best friend is a massive Dallas Stars fan and invited me to a game with him. What can I say to rage bait him? You can go on an entire screed about how it was really, that the Minnesota North Stars moving to Dallas set professional hockey back in popularity by at least 20 years, and just talk about how it's completely a hill you'll die on because it's a northern game. It should never have gone south, and that was the beginning of the death knell, where we had a bunch of teams get, transferred to warm weather climates where they wouldn't succeed, and most of them have gone. The only reason Dallas has succeeded is because their logo looks kind of similar to the Cowboys, and Texans are too fucking stupid to tell the difference. That should do it.
All of that went completely over my head.
Easy thing to say. So there was Minnesota is the biggest hockey state in the U.S.
Right.
I don't buy that.
You're fucking stupid.
Hockey runs through Michigan, sir.
Yes, sure. It is not. The state of hockey is Minnesota. It's not close to close. And right now, the Frozen Four has been dominated a lot by Michigan in recent memory. However, youth hockey in Minnesota and then through the and up through the levels is historically a Minnesota thing.
Yeah, it has been their time, but Hockey Town, USA has always been in Michigan.
Yeah, I mean, because they called it that. You also have Kalamazoo. Do you take credit for that? But anyway,
who?
So the Minnesota North Stars were the professional hockey team, NHL team in Minnesota, and they were purchased and moved to Dallas, removing the NHL from Minnesota, which caused a shitstorm when I was growing up and around hockey. And eventually, like, the NHL wasted very little time putting a team back in Minneapolis or back in Minnesota. It's the Minnesota Wild. But the vitriol that the state of Minnesota still has to the Dallas Stars, which used to be the Minnesota North Stars, is still epically high. Like, there are generations that never were alive when the North Stars existed that still fucking hate Dallas. So that's where you can start your rage baiting. Also says finally ordered KO, Ira, Dory, and Kano for Sage. And to start practicing, got several of my local PT Magic the Gathering grinders interested. Here's to spreading the good word. Thank you for doing God's work in that. That's very important to Josh's continued employment.
Yes. Please keep spreading the good word.
Next one's from Vintox. Question for Josh: why aren't judge conference presentations recorded to be persistent reference material for up and coming judges, especially for pre-event conferences done in person? This is a real question.
Yeah, it's a real question. It's great. It's a fantastic question. I think that one of the it's an interesting and nuanced topic. We did do a couple of recordings for, like, when we did our first, I think it was first PT, we did a couple of recordings. So it's like the very first PT, my very first judge conference as well. We recorded a whole bunch of sets there, or seminars there. But the quality was really poor. And that's one critical aspect of these judge presentations, these judge conferences, is that we're not really set up for recording. We get the space that we can to be able to do these judge conferences, usually close to the venue. And sometimes they'll be in like a bar. Sometimes they'll be in like extra seminar rooms and whatnot. But the quality of the recording, the audio, the editing that we have to do all come into play regarding, whether or not we can actually deliver something that people are actually going to watch. Like, we could just, record it on a cell phone camera or a GoPro or something like that. But the problem is that you get really poor quality audio. You might not be able to capture what's on the screen, poor background noise, and that really diminishes the educational, it really diminishes it as a product and what we can deliver. And the amount of effort that we'd have to go into to record it and clean it and edit it and then serve it and make sure it gets spread out is just not worth it compared to what we do already with articles, and also just encouraging people to come to these conferences. Now, I will say it is something that isn't a no-go altogether. It is something that we do consider from time to time, but it's just been that the way things have been for conferences over the last couple of years. The most important aspect that we place on those conferences at the moment is getting the quality of the conferences and the seminars as high as possible, and encouraging people to come and accommodating the people that are there. What I would recommend is, if you can come to those conferences, to these events and whatnot, come to them, because they're not just for judges. You can come as a player. You can come as a judge who's not even working the event. Like, we had pro player Michael Fang come up to a couple of judge conferences that we've run before, and we were delighted to have him there because it keeps players informed. It keeps these teams informed about what the expectations are, what judges are doing, because we want to have this this good relationship with the players. So anyone is interested in coming along to these judge conferences and whatnot, you just have to come sign up to create a judge account on Judge Hub and sign up to the conference that you want to come to. You get judge packs as well, cool as judge packs, just for turning up and being a part of the event. And I think that is the core of what we're trying to achieve at the moment. But videos for future judge conferences, I think, is something that just needs to be the right place, the right time, and we need to have the right editing skills to make that a worthwhile investment for the community.
It's not like you didn't just recently acquire an in-house production company or anything. I mean,
oh mate, if we ask them to do the judge conference things like on the day that they're setting up, I think that they would have a fit.
No, maybe not my pig, not my farm though. Fuck 'em.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Nathan. You know, I love Ethan. Like, don't want to step on too many toes. But
so friggin' hard. I really don't want to add any more to their plate.
I mean, I want to add more to Nathan's plate because it's funny.
Yeah.
But outside of that, like, he knows he's loved. It's fine. Next one is from Sofsky. Where can I bet on the length of a Josh Scott episode? So this one is more abrupt than normal due to a Bow Echo storm approaching Charmer's location rapidly and is supposed to be there in about 15 minutes. So we're kind of racing the clock a little bit, which is not how we normally do this. But to save us all some much needed sanity, we're trying to not have this go for the record breaking. Although Bryce Platts wants your record, by the way.
Yeah, I heard about that. I'm once he breaks 3 hours, then I'll believe that he can do
it. He really was. He was trying to dig in because he found out that I'm a former broadcast nerd. And so he was thinking that he could dig into the technical side of it and get me going. But it's like, I mean, it's been 25 years since I was really in the weeds with all the broadcast stuff. So I can tell war stories forever. But knowing as much as I used to about equipment, current equipment and stuff like that, I'm like behind.
Yeah.
But and obviously they're more future focused and such, and that makes sense. I mean, that's what their business model is. But also Bryce is an incredibly fun guest and a great guy to talk to. So.
Alternative is just get me and Bryce on and we could go for the all time.
Fuck, man. No, I'll do that for the next 24-hour stream. And that way I don't have to run.
Perfect.
I'll just let you two go. It'll be fine. I'll do one soon. Not soon. I'll do one sometime.
Or
fuck off. Are you doing it, you piece of shit?
I will do one, but it'll be this big.
Of course it will. Next one's from Rogue.noob. Why are LSS cowards that made Ziggy an illusionist not the first CC legal bard? Because the card pool's not big enough, you fucking idiot. You'd have to do so much to make bard even playably okay.
They're introducing these musically talented heroes a little bit at a time, and then in the future we'll get the Oops All Bards, and it'll be like a new version of Pleiades that'll be a Guardian Bard.
Well, we'll find out that Pleiades
Illusionist Bard.
Yeah, we'll find out that Pleiades and Ziggy are just a backup band for whoever the real bard is.
Yeah, I can imagine some like ETC level vibes when you have like a brute wielding an axe or playing the drums or something like that.
Like Animal.
Yeah.
Yeah. It all comes back to Muppets. It always comes back to Muppets. We have several Statler and Waldorfs in our Discord. So we are very Muppet focused in what we do. And then you were doing the Kermit meme earlier just to fuck with me. Next one is from Greg. A couple of questions after listening to another Fab podcast. First off, how fucking dare you? Do you think North American callings with 300 or less competitors is a red flag for Fab overall? Another main set dropping 1 week before US Nats. Does this alienate the more casual players who only aspire to a Nats run since they have to learn an entirely new format 1 week before traveling to Nats? So I do think calling attendance is in the US is obviously dwindling. I had a couple of conversations with some of the vendors and such. The good news is the vendors by and large are still doing okay. They're not showing up to an event and losing money. So that's a plus. That because usually that's the beginning sign of those are the beginning red flags. Those are the canaries in the coal mine. There's when vendors show up and can't make money. I think right now a lot of it is North American climate, and I don't mean the weather. I think there are a lot of.
You mean the ice outside?
Mm-hmm. I think there are a lot of international players who have made conscious decisions to not come here unless it's attached to a tier 4 event. And let's be real. Europe has a lot less callings. And so when there is a calling in Europe, I think that they travel better than we do. I mean, I don't fly, to calling Atlanta, right? I mean, because Atlanta's a town I've been to a bunch. I don't really have any desire to go do things in Atlanta. So it's just going to a calling in Atlanta, and I don't want to hop on an airplane. So I usually will only really focus on making sure I make my local-ish callings. So calling Kansas City, if there's something in Chicago, something in Minneapolis, something along those lines. And I think that also holds for the most of your average tier of player that wants to travel, is there is a local aspect to it as well. Back in there were not as many calling days in the US. I think, and also attached to, things like SCG cons and stuff like that, you had bigger footprints and presences due to the fact that it's like there's two callings in Q1 in the US or whatever. So you'd save up to go to both. Instead, you have, a calling every week in the US for the most part, and then it's not that big, but you have something every week. So, and also, your competitive format seasons. So people aren't as starved to get to somewhere to play. If you look at, so the numbers to really look at, especially I think from the LSS side, are your overall player accounts and player engagement at all levels alongside new player, onboarding. Those are the real metrics, not how many players were at a calling in San Diego on Valentine's Day weekend in one of the most expensive cities in the US because for whatever reason Trevor decided that would be a good time to put one in San Diego. No shade, not at all. That's where I'm at with it.
I will say, at least anecdotally, yes, I'm very aware this is a Flesh and Blood podcast. So
are you?
Shut up, Logan. When I was casting the regional championship for Star Wars, it was at
this is
SCG
a Flesh and
Con.
Blood podcast.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was at an SCG Con, and when I went downstairs, obviously SCG Con also had Flesh and Blood events, they had Magic events, they had Riftbound events, Lorcana, et cetera, et cetera. And I saw more than one vendor that was not carrying Magic at an SCG Con, and both of them were essentially bolstered by they were just carrying Fab and Riftbound. And so the fact that you can do well at an SCG Con, which is historically a very Magic deep place with non-Magic games, I think also speaks volumes. Yeah, I think it's a lot of climate. I think it's again, European ones. I said that in the previous show or whatever the last show it was that I was on. Trains are a thing. Trains are great. I also think that we're hitting the early stages of an economic downturn in the US. I know that's not necessarily like shocking to hear, but as somebody who, in my early life, in my teens and my early 20s, when I worked at a gaming store and I did all of the gaming side of things, you notice it first in your hobbies, especially the ones that are your luxury hobbies, because when you start looking at like, hey, what do I spend my money on, and things are tight now and I have to cut back on expenses, not playing a TCG is going to save you a lot more money than canceling a Netflix subscription, right? Like, it's one of those things where you feel it first. You feel it in card games, you feel it in comics, you feel it in those hobbies. So like that is part of the equation. And I mean, it sucks that that's the world we live in, but I do think that's a big part of it as well.
Yeah, I think that's accurate. Josh, if you want to comment, you're more than welcome
Yeah,
to.
I
I know
mean,
that being in
I totally get that as well. Like, building on the whole, when the economy goes down, like the luxury hobbies, are like obviously the first things that you cut. Like, I remember when I was a student, just starting up with Fab, I sold my first edition cold foil Arknight shard in order to pay insurance on my car. Like, it was just like, I just needed to sell it cheap and quick to be able to pay the bill. And that's just what I did. And it's just like, okay, well, I don't have to, or I'm not going to be playing this class anytime soon, or I won't be playing this class anytime soon. I just want to, do this thing. That was back when it was like, just a couple $100. But it was like,
Mhm.
hey, this is like the extra piece that I can start to cut down out of my collection in order to make ends meet. And luckily now I'm in a better position and I can reacquire some things and like invest back into it. But that's only because of, change in my financial circumstances. When you're talking on a huge scale, like, an entire country, yeah, it's going to put a damper on a lot of people attending these events. But in saying that, like, it's all about doing what's best for you and what's best for your hobbies. And I think it's great now that we have things like Silver Age and a whole bunch of events cropping up, and it's like you said, you don't have to travel to the other side of the country and buy expensive plane tickets. There are events going around all the place, whether or not it's just your local game store or even like a calling 3 months away that's a drive away now, which I think is really, really cool for people who aren't looking to spend thousands of dollars on their hobby, but maybe like a couple hundred, or in the case of Silver Age, just like, less than $100 to start participating in Fab.
Yeah. The other question was around main sets dropping before US Nats. I think that it is it's worth talking about. I wouldn't dismiss this out of hand. It was an issue last time with US Nats in high seas. As well as calling Memphis was also horrifying with the hunted. But the biggest thing with this is those were largely due to distribution issues with cards not getting into players' hands quick enough. I think we saw with Compendium, I would say Compendium was a very smooth release as far as people being able to get enough of it. I haven't heard a lot of people complaining. Now, granted, something like Compendium is not a draftable set. So there's less of a demand for it at an event level. You don't need to sock back several hundred cases to run limited events at callings and such. But I also feel like Super Slam was not difficult to get your hands on. And that was a draftable set.
But there's the other part of this question too, though, because Greg did say, does this alienate the more casual players who only aspire to a Nats run, since they have to learn an entirely new format 1 week before traveling to Nats? And I say this with all of the love in my heart. If you're trying to be competitive at Nats, you are not a casual player.
Correct.
You cannot have your cake and eat it too. You've already played in a Road to Nationals, did well enough to qualify, and are now thinking about trying to compete against other people of the same caliber. So like the idea of somebody who's like, well, I only follow the game casually and now I have to learn this whole new format, like, then don't play in the main event. Like, go play in side events at Nats or whatever, right? But if you're trying to make a Nats run, that is a level of competition that you need to treat as competitive, not as casual, or you just won't do well.
Right.
And I say this as somebody who, I never want to alienate the casual players, but I'm just saying, like, Nats and Pro Tours or any event where you had to do well at an event to qualify for it are not the places where you're like, I just want to make my casual run. That's not what those are for.
Right. I agree with that completely. Anything to add? Anybody? No? Moving on.
Josh, tell the players that they're wrong and they're dumb and they're stupid as an official representative of LSS.
Nice try. Just because you like Star Wars Unlimited doesn't mean that you can take me down.
This is the man that conscientiously took off his LSS polo on the way to the Irish Airbnb because knowing that impropriety was likely. Just saying.
I mean, that's fair. He knows what it's like to be professional, Logan. Maybe one day he'll be on our level.
Our level?
Yeah.
Okay.
Me and Josh.
You can lick my nutsack, you motherfucker. Next one is from Captive
You're still
Goat.
working on it.
Next one's from Captive Goat. If a judge is the only judge in an event, like a small pro quest or something, and is behaving poorly, what should we as players do about Nathan Steckman? No, it's Nathan's great. That's a shot over the bow. But I think that's a good question for Josh, honestly.
Yeah, it's not like it's out of the realm possibility that you have a judge that isn't acting up to the expectations of the players. I think the first and foremost is that if the judge is new, quite often they can just be talked to, just player to judge, or quite often you can have that conversation with them, like, hey, like I don't think this is appropriate, or like I would like to challenge you on this, or maybe we should like talk about this sort of a thing so it's smoother for you and me, or us or me or other players or whatever. If you don't feel comfortable doing that, and it's totally fine if you don't feel comfortable doing that, the next person to go to would be the tournament organizer, the store owner, basically the person who has brought that judge in or is paying them to be a judge to be at that event. They would be the next person to go to, because they're the ultimate authority when it comes to organizing that tournament. They're the TO, they're the tournament organizer in that role. If you feel like that's again beyond, like it might be an issue that the TO shares, or a view that the TO shares that you feel uncomfortable with, then the next step would be to reach out to the judge program. You can do that in two ways. We do have a judge report form on the website, I believe, or through Judge Hub. But otherwise, you can reach out at judge@FaBTCG.com. Basically explain your situation, explain the event, explain what you didn't feel comfortable with or what the issues were. Typically, we treat those issues very seriously. We treat the issues where a judge has violated the code of conduct or behaved inappropriately very seriously, because we want to make sure that these events are the best that they can possibly be. But if it's just a personality difference, then that's something that needs to be resolved in a personal manner and not through official channels. Just be aware that just because you don't like a shirt that the judge is wearing or something like that, that's nothing that we can resolve from our end. It's something that needs to be have that conversation with have that open conversation with them.
Yeah, comes straight from the mouth of babes. That's that one.
Or you can fight him in the parking lot at 3 a.m.
That story's real, and I still can't fucking believe that story is real. Next one is from Salty Sea Cat. Are we going to see less Phantasm and more Mirage for Illusionists? Josh, again, probably is disqualified from this question. But I think that knowing that Mirage and Phantasm and Spectra are some of the most hated mechanics in the history of the world, it wouldn't shock me if they were sort of phased down to something more reasonable.
Yeah, I mean, like, another part of that is that we've also got this new keyword fragment as well that you've seen on the Illusionist card, which is whenever a card with 2 or more defense defends this gets -2 power, which I think is really cool way to essentially capitalize on what Phantasm wanted to do, which was, here's an overrate attack. If you defend it with the right stuff, then it becomes underrate, essentially. And I think that's a really cool like incentive for abilities to do. It's sort of like the same thing with Wager and with Clashing. Like these sort of incentives to either build your deck a certain way or to play in a certain way, where it's like good in some cases, good in other cases, depending on what sort of decision or what sort of game state you want to make. So I think that's going to be really interesting to see how that shakes up the metagame, how that shakes up how people play these sorts of decks as well.
Do hollow counters have any function outside of just being a counter?
No, that
counter. Is also referenced
in cards? Most counters in Fab are just counters. The only things that change anything are the +1, -1, etc. But the core aspect of hollow counters is essentially like with Ziggy. Ziggy's ability is that you can't. You have to banish the illusionist aura with no hollow counters on it, and then it brings it back with a hollow counter, which means that you can't just infinitely cycle your CLV, for example.
That's the card that everybody points out.
Yeah.
I
gotta be relatable.
Wonder why. Yeah, wonder why. Next one's from Micaiah. Another world premiere in Prague. You going? No, probably not. That would require due to other things that are in the pipeline that I don't think that we have the go ahead to talk about like super publicly yet. No, I don't think that I have the ability to get off work for that amount of time. I have an MRI tomorrow on my knee, so I might actually not have a functioning leg at that point in time. But if anybody wants to set up a GoFundMe, sure. Charmer's not going. I know that for a lot of the same reasons that I wouldn't be going. Yeah. Josh, are you going to go to Prague?
I wish. Prague has been on my wish list for an event for a while. Like I want to go, but I'm in the same boat. I just don't have the time right now. It's just
so. What I'm going to say here is a commitment. The next time if you go to Prague for an event, I will go to Prague for the event.
Done. All right. Sounds good.
Done and dusted. Back to Old Town Prague with Ian Holland and the Irish crew and seeing who can live.
I really liked Prague, and I would be very interested in going again. I just, much like Logan said, I'm having a hard time with just time off. There's a lot going on with my day job in general, and then on top of that, weirdly, this year got really busy for me all of a sudden, and so I'm like looking at my days and counting my minutes to try to fit everything in. So
yeah, days aren't dazing at some points in time. Next question is, do you think this next set is really just lightning? My theory that it's lightning and ice. The caster on stream did say it was cold and electric. And I think they will reveal the other ice half of the set at PT Yokohama. I'm probably just crazy though. You are probably just crazy though.
You are absolutely crazy because they've already released like FAQs and stuff about pre-releases that have like the art for pre-release kits, and it's just the lightning. So I'm not saying it's impossible, and they're certainly clever enough to do it, but it would be a very big undertaking to do this level of like push out and marketing to hide an entire half of a set.
Also, the casters were given basically Volthaven as a thing, which is ice and lightning historically, but because Pulse of Volthaven is ice and lightning. But I think that was just they were going with what they had at the moment, but it's just a lightning set. And
maybe it's just the casters trolling you.
It was, who was it? It was
Ellie and
Scott, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, okay, they would both troll the shit out of us. But
I don't know. Yes. I think they're both kind of wholesome.
Ellie trolls me for fun sometimes. So
yeah, but they're both pretty wholesome.
And then I'm going to just go ahead and guess that we get a flat no comment from Josh on that one. Because reasons.
He doesn't even remember. He's not
That's probably
Could you imagine the day where I'm just allowed to spoil an entire set on your podcast?
I would love that day. That day would be incredible.
Could you like
I hope it never happens. I would not look forward to that day. If Flesh and Blood is in such a bad position that we are the source of news for that level of stuff, like I'm very worried and
for the game's health.
So,
yeah.
I
don't know. If can you imagine like all right, we're doing the 6-hour podcast and we're going through every common and rare in the set, and it's going to be spoiled here live on.
Well, that would be the conversation with James when he'd be like, I want to do this. Who's crazy enough to do this? And it's like, there's only one answer to that question. And it's these assholes. And it's like, well, I guess we're doing it because we are 100% crazy.
One day when marketing lets me do what I want, why not? We'll do it.
Oh, God. It would be, that would be an insane run to try to accomplish. I would do it, like I said, in a heartbeat. Last one is from Blaze Storm, valued member of the Patreon. How would you best navigate a language barrier at professional REL, like being at the Pro Tour in Yokohama, for example? That's a Josh question.
So from a logistics point of view, we do try and make sure that we have people who can speak multiple languages on staff, or like, have good language coverage. And that means that in the worst case scenario, if like things go wrong, you can't communicate, you need to get a point across, or you need some information from your opponent about whether or not you're playing with certain cards or trying to get a certain interaction, judges are there to help you. The staff is there to help you. Like, yes, language barriers are always going to be a persistent issue because not everyone can be a polyglot. But at the same time, we do our best to make sure that you have the games that you need to play and play them as best as possible and have a great experience. That being said, though, I think that in most cases, you can get away with communicating in the language of games, right? Like, you play Fab, you recognize so many different things that are very common across cultures, regardless of what language you speak. Moving something forward indicates that you're playing it or you're activating it. Turning a card sideways and putting it on the combat chain, these are the cards that I'm blocking with. Pointing to dice and just being like that. So pointing cards and being like that, and then rolling a dice. Obviously, you're splitting up like the values of the dice for the cards. Like, we're all speaking a very similar language with the actions and the movements we take. And I think that just, relying on that, I think goes a long way when it comes to crossing these language barriers. I'd say the other part of that is being familiar with the cards and being familiar with the decks as well. If you're going to a pro tour, you don't have to know absolutely every single card and be able to recognize it from the artwork, but being able to recognize cards from their artwork means that you don't have to rely on being able to read the cards. So, you see the iconic artwork of a blood rush bellow across the table. It doesn't matter whether or not it's in German or French or Italian or Japanese for that matter. Like, if you see that artwork, you know what's going to happen because iconic card, they're discarding two, they're drawing two cards, and they're going to smash your face in. But if you can, continue to build up your knowledge and your understanding and your recognition of these cards, then that will reduce the amount of times that you'll have to ask for help either from your opponent or from a judge, essentially. So being familiar with decks, being familiar with these, the common language of these great games, and of course, relying on the resources that are provided to you. Those are the ways that you can, basically mitigate that language barrier and, continue to create those great games.
I was going to suggest pantomime, right? So like if you hit with a pummel and they're not discarding and you're trying to let them know about the discard, you can pull out like a ball peen hammer and then just like smash your hand to say, hey, you got to destroy something in your hand.
I was going to make some comment about you having to Google polyglot, but
I'm not even a monoglot, dude.
That's true.
Language barriers.
I often say to people when they're like, they're like, oh, sorry, my English is so bad. And I'm like, I don't even speak English that well. Like, what are you?
Right.
What are you sorry about?
I do run into that. We're just like, I'm sorry, my English is so terrible. I'm like, are you fucking kidding? I live in America. No one speaks English. I do have one thing that I wanted to bring up, and because you listened or watched or whatever the episode with Bryce, and at least I think you did. Maybe you didn't. I don't really know. But any rate, I know you did. Any rate, we got into talking about adding the ability in the tournament locator to find non-LSS fronted events. Is that something we can get?
It's something that I think is on the radar in terms of like, talking about that sort of aspect of things. Like right now it's very much focused on ensuring that we have solid and a solid foundation to which to build on. Like obviously we went through the website revamp not too long ago where we've basically redone the whole website. And building up on things like the deck lists and the card vault and the judge hub and the rules page and all these other like microservices. Once we've got a solid foundation, then the possibilities are there to be able to add those sorts of things in. And for what it's worth, I think it's a fantastic way to sort of like bring more people into the community, to bring more people, bring more tournaments to the forefront. But at the moment, the focus is on creating that solid foundation. So it is something that is in the air, and it is on the radar. But there is no confirmation about when or whether that will happen.
Gotcha. To everybody that asked listener questions that I didn't get to, note that I know they're there, and we will get to them. It's just one of those where some of them were not going to be very Josh oriented.
I'm sorry, your questions got delayed a week because I pulled Logan on.
Well,
yeah, pretty much.
It's also in part because I'm hearing the thunder. My storm will be here soon. And
yep, and we're at the end of the road.
As we said before earlier, right? Everything comes back to Muppets, and so I would like to ask Josh if he is aware of the fact that it is canon that Kermit somehow, some way is responsible for September 11th.
I heard about this theory. I'm trying to remember. It's not a theory.
It's in a very Muppet Christmas movie.
Yeah.
One of the angels is showing Kermit the classic, this is a world if you had never been born, and it's supposed to be the Wonderful Life Sad thing. But in the editing, they used footage from New York that still had the Twin Towers standing. But the movie came out after September 11th, so that means in the regular universe, it has already happened. So somehow Kermit's being alive is directly tied to the terror attacks on September 11th.
Upsetting,
yeah.
Right? When you
it's not easy being green.
Yep.
For fuck's sake. I'm gonna thank some patrons and get out of here. I can't. I just can't. We're gonna thank some associate producers right now. We have Andy, Sindra, Anthony, Ejor, Jacob, Aladoris, Octothorptopus. I've gotten good at that one. Captive Goat, welcome back. Sofsky, Heiner, Sleep Coma, Josh, would you like to? Oh no, Sleep Coma is an associate producer. Now it's our executive producers on up. Josh, would you like to do the returning
He's
needful?
Back. He's back.
He's back. He's back.
He's back.
He's back.
Good thrust.
There it is, baby. Blaze Storm, value member of the Patreon. Diana, John, and Charlie. Then we have our possum supporter, the Delusian data analyst, and our Chargers Chamber of Charcoal participants. We have Trevor Baker. No, not that one. Matt, Michael, Brandon, Eldorte, and then our ceiling fan, the pinnacle of fat fandom, Polish guy Rich. I think that we have Rich next week and then Trevor the week after, or is that it's inverted? It's that. But any rate, if you want to become a member of our Patreon and support the show, you can go to patreon.com/fleshandpod. Link is in the show notes. Pick a tier. I really don't give a shit. If you need to contact the show, you can send us an email at fleshandpod@gmail.com. You can find us on BlueSky. Just search Flesh and Pod. The best thing you can do is enter our Discord and come hang out. There's channels for everything now. I'm pretty sure I've added channels for literally everything at this point. I don't think I added a judge channel ever, did I?
Yeah.
Oh my god, I haven't.
The Pickle Posse and no judge channel.
I think I'm going to keep it that way. And listen, the Pickle channel gets a lot of run. Okay, there's a lot of people that really enjoy the Pickle channel, but it's free to join. Links in the show notes. Just come hang out with us. Josh is in there. Derek's obviously in there. I'm in there. You'll sometimes see us being obnoxious and trying to just see a bunch of people arguing over something rules wise, and I just get bored. I'm just like, Josh, what's the fucking answer? I'm sick of these people talking. And he's like, oh, this is actually how this works. And then it turns out that both people were wrong. Josh, where can they find you?
You can find me on BlueSky, jjscott.nz. I keep it pretty real over there. So, expect real life.
Hot takes galore.
Yep, absolutely.
My favorite account.
It is the best. It is the best social media account on the face of the planet. Not close to close.
Well, I appreciate that. I put a lot of work, a lot of effort into ensuring that it's not filtered at all. It's just straight.
It's real Josh.
Real me. Yep. Aside from that, if anybody's interested in becoming a judge, I would say start by creating an account on judge@fabtcg.com. reaching out to your local judge community, talking with your TO that you're interested in judging. And like I said earlier, if you guys, even if you're not interested in judging, coming to judge conferences, getting a judge pack, getting more informed about judging and whatnot can also help you as a player. So keep an eye out for any judge conferences that might be happening at events near you too.
Darick, would you like to add anything about you or where they can find you?
Chuckles with Charmer.
I'm
That's
not
where you can find
looking.
me.
I am not looking. I'm staying. Nope. You can't make
Doing
me.
some of my best work in there.
I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do. I think this is the shortest that we, even at 2 hours and 5 minutes, this is still the shortest Josh Scott episode ever.
Yeah.
I'm a little disappointed, but say la vie. We're going to now log off and say goodnight, and then we're going to witness Josh Scott watch the Steiner Math promo. So I will report back with our findings as soon as it's done. I would love to outtake it, but I'm not as industrious as that tonight, man. I just got back from vacation. So thank you all for listening. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you again next week. Apparently, because I don't take any off. Bye.
Bye.